I mean, you've had what? You've had the easy, like, I mean, like, what do you have? You have the app, your DJ app, Easy Suite, Easy
Yeah.
Webinar.
Yes, I have a few things going, man. Yes, I have the app. I have the which this DJ app, which we're kind of like, it's not necessarily just a DJ app. The whole idea is that it's this new form of video editing, and this is in its infancy. It's like got this kind of website that's like not we haven't really done a lot with it yet, but it's like, it's basically timeline editing. I know
Okay.
that's weird. You're like, what was that? How that weirdness? But the
Well,
concept
what
of
does that do? Like, you slide it. Like, what happens when the guy moves? Like, what does that do?
that's just like that's like the lander of the app. So it's
Okay.
not, I would have to tell you a bit more about like what the app does,
Okay.
and show you some of the things you could do with the app. As an example, uh, you know, some of this is the whole idea of this particular app, which it doesn't show you much here, but like it's a combination of both music and video.
Okay.
Obviously, just like multiple platforms have that, like TikTok and things like that.
Right.
It allows you to basically, let me just add more. Okay, then one more.
So, are you putting like a tune together with a song? Is that what you're? Is that like what are you creating?
Yeah. Well, what I was creating was the thing you can do is it's the ability to sync up music and video combined,
Okay. Okay.
right?
All right.
Which, obviously you can do with a lot of other apps. This one's
Right.
just slightly different. Um, and for whatever reason, I need to like
Interesting.
delete it and get back into it. But I don't want to necessarily show it yet because we're kind of like we're still pre-launch
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I kind of am like, if it was just you and me, I would be like, here, check this out. So this is what
You don't want to give everyone the raw and dirty. Yeah, I get it.
yeah, like trying to uh, keep the anonymity up first for a little bit. But anyway, that we're going to be hopefully coming out with very soon, and then Easy Suite is a product that our plans are version 2 rolls out of Easy Webinar, and we've now fast tracked that. And we were like, well, how do we do this when you have 2 different platforms and you have to like, people are paying for version 1, but then you have version 2, and we were going to have them pay or upgrade to version 2, and pricing is different now. So we were just like stuck on this, like trying to figure out the next steps,
Right.
of what we do. But since then, we've realized that the barriers that we've created have limited the ability for people to see what we have, right? Just like what I did here, I didn't show you the app itself, that's a mental thing I need to get over.
Sure.
Sometimes it's just better to show people what you got going on, and that's kind of our method and mantra now going forward with this our next version, which is considered Easy Webinar Next. And so all our users are going to have access to it. We're also going to have it front facing as the main app instead of like, there won't be a classic app at that point for new customers coming in. It would only be classic for people that were previously here, right? They would get, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So basically, like you had a new, so you have a new version. You didn't yet release it for the people because you're trying to split up the two different, the branding pricing crisis, and then from there, now it's gonna be available to everyone at the same price, but moving forward, you're gonna have a cutoff for all new people just to get access to only the new version. But
Only
if you're
the new
grandfathered in, you could be grandfathered in, and you'll wait for those people
Yeah.
to. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. And
It's
I
a
mean that
good approach. It's a good approach. It makes sense.
I mean at this point it's like giving them access to the beta without necessarily saying, you know, any the whole idea is that I don't know what we're going to do with that. Like right now the platform, it's so much more stuff that it should cost more, you know, like it should
Yeah.
cost more for them.
It's
And
just not like that in our space anymore.
what?
I don't think it's like that in our space anymore. It's like it's a race to the bottom from what I'm saying.
Problem. I think it's a problem. I know you're right.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. You think it's a good thing?
I think it's going to start a lot of new innovation. Like here's I'll give you. I mean, the best example is Zoom. Like, so Zoom was crushing it right during pandemic. Everyone was exposed to it, and that opened the floodgates for video to be into everyone's lives moving forward, which was great for our businesses. But then Teams was like, F that. So then they took over a lot of the market share from Zoom, and then they doubled down recently and did an integrated Chat GPT with Teams for $7.99 a month. You're not competing with that. Like, no,
you can't compete with that, man.
Yeah. But that's only. But I think the thing that's good about it is like, go commercialize or streamline meetings. That's fine. But like, Zoom and Teams, they still have not cracked the nut of what our platforms solve, which is using it as an ROI. Like, you're using it to make money, and that's one part of it. The other part of it is that we have we're testing a couple other models right now where we're going to give unlimited meetings for free. And there's going to be a caveat to it. I'm not going to talk about it yet, but you're going to be able to host long meetings, do it as long as you want for free. And we're going to figure out how people are going to be able to make, how we're going to make money for a bunch of free users, which there is a path for it. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but it forces you to get super creative. And then we're talking about this like online ecosystem we're creating together.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of ways that people are just going to want to use, they're going to want to use this like video technology and use it to make money. Look what Restream just did. Restream's adding ways to link to go buy from your stores and buy your affiliate links. Like that is where it's going. And so I think I think it's a really good thing.
I do too. I mean, I think that's what has always differentiated us, and my platform and our messaging has always been about how to have an ROI, and a specific audience, how to like, it's like you do this to generate revenue. You do this to have a lifestyle. You do this so that you can feed your family and stuff like that. I mean, we've taken that approach. We're not just as like a meeting platform, but how do you actually get an ROI on, it's sales and marketing basically. So it's like, I think that, that's probably going to be how we continue to go forward in terms of like development, design, and flow, and messaging. And, at the same time, it's like, you take an education approach too. I think an education approach can help with seeing, here's why I'm also investing in this. Because I see that they have, not only are they helping with they have the platform, but they're helping with my sales experience and helping generate sales,
Right. Like, you're making money. You're not going to want to stop the thing that's making you money. Like, that's what it's going to be all about.
Exactly. So, Yeah, I think you're right. But it is kind of like this race to the bottom, so to speak.
Sure, for sure.
You know, it just, you have to be able to show and justify why it costs what it costs, you know. And again, it's not the coming in on a daily basis, you know, and talking uh, on meetings, you know. I mean, that has its own ROI, you know, where you're getting on meetings with your team and stuff like that, but people don't see that visibly. But you know, it's about I think it's all about like how you can go forward and create the helping people to basically, you know, put their sales and marketing on steroids and rise above the noise, and show how, you know, why someone should buy your product as opposed to anyone else's product. And
Yeah.
we kind of touched on this last week about, you know, the whole AI boom, being, you know, being a part of the revolution that would also, you know, really position, more importantly, why being able to have a high impact presentation that shows you and who you are, and video, and you on video, is going to be an important piece to differentiate yourself from more of the content that's just going to be coming out in droves, you know, as the months go by.
Right.
So.
I mean, it's people are like, every time, and that's specifically why like we're doing so well on the services side, right? There's so many people that want, like, they you know, what I've realized is that there's a lot of people who want to figure out how to like control, and you know, we've talked about this, you know, before, about like owning your own distribution, and owning your own channel and using that to make money. But then the thing that people want is how to turn that on autopilot. Like, how do they automate that entire process where they find this one thing that's making money and put it on repeat? And that's been the thing, and the vision of what we've been offering on the services side, because you have a live presentation, you're doing well on it, and then you and I have worked with people, you know, lots of people on the services side on automating that process. And it's like that's an ROI you can't really, like, these platforms aren't going to be able to sell, because you're buying back your time, you're doing whatever you want, you're generating revenue, you've got all these messaging, you know, components and avatars that are all set up and launched. It's like, you know, that's it's just a different offer. It's just a much different offer than why are you different than Zoom? Why are you different than Google Meets or Teams or whatever? So it's like,
at that point, it's an easy, you know, positioning. It's a much different. Obviously, it's like, oh well, because we do this, whereas they do that. You know, it's easy to position the differentiation, the difference between the two.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's been it's been interesting watching this whole, you know, release of these, you know, there's a lot of these like niche video conferencing platforms that are coming out, but I think they're a lot, you know, like I said, I think they're missing the mark from the, you know, ROI side of it, which is why that's why we're doubling down.
Yeah. It is really interesting how many of these platforms are coming out. It's just like absolutely insane. There's so many.
Yeah, it's
you know, when I also look at, like, I always look at the different, you know, the things that are interesting about like who's signing up to our platform and what they're doing, and you know, like I always think, you know, the marketing, the like, we see actually a lot of people that are marketing experts or marketing companies for financial advisors. You know, it's like you see like one niche that kind of rises up over some of the rest, and you're like, oh, that's an interesting one. You know, and you're like, oh, so, you know, whether, and we wonder what defines that for them. Like, is it that because financial advisors, they have, you know, there's a lot of regulation, and Easy Webinar sort of fulfills on that regulation, or because we have the GDPR or whatever, you know, we have like pieces in place that make that attractive. It's kind of interesting to think about that and kind of look at your one particular cohort that generates the most revenue, to say, oh, well, maybe we should refocus or at least have something that really pushes on that specific audience, because we're maybe doing something right to answer, to that audience's problems or questions, So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's niche down, I think, is the
It's
idea.
I was having the same, like, branding crisis that we've been talking about between like business hangouts and, Jet Webinar and Jet Video Technologies. And what we were going through, like the data, and just trying to figure out like what's the actual, like what's the market telling us for us to figure out like what makes sense. And we went through the same process that you did for like the financial advisors. And actually when I was reaching out to, when I was getting more in the weeds of your sales process, that was a course creators, and that was the thing. And we found like people, we were promoted, like after we bought Business Hangouts, we just interjected webinars in there, but we realized that everyone who was using it just wanted meetings. Like that's all they cared about. And it took us a lot to go through, and when people are going in signing up for the subscriptions, we're like, which ones are the stickiest, which ones are sticking around the longest? These $10 a month plans, and they're they just rack up through that. But we were trying to sell them $59 and $125 plans, and they weren't sticking around. But the people who were going into Jet Webinar, they were keeping those, and that's just the way we've positioned it. So that spoke some volumes from how we're doing.
It's the one pricing package can be specific to a specific niche, or audience level. Obviously meetings and lower, you kind of define who it's for,
Right.
Where the higher ones, you also define who that's for,
Right.
You're at a growth point, you should be doing this. This is why you should be doing it.
Yeah.
These are all the things we're trying to work on that, it's like, for whatever reason, it takes forever to like throw out and get out this this full, full spread, so to speak. But now we're at a point where we're putting more gas on trying to roll those things out.
I know. I'm very excited after our call today. I think it's like, there's a cool, clear path with, just dominating this market. Like
I think you're right.
It's definitely exciting, which we'll probably talk more about when it's more official.
We'll talk more about it to the world.
Yeah.
We can't do it right now. This is the wrong time to do it.
That's not the right time to do that.
I think when you have a vision to just want to solve problems for people, it's like you just meet other people that want to solve the problem and try to figure out how you guys can solve it together. Again, we always talk about this, we're competing platforms, but Henry and I resonate so much on the same sort of like frequency, in the sense of wanting to help people. And I think that, I've definitely not had great relationships with other founders of platforms in the past. Where I mean, oh man, the Webinar Jam tech founder, accused us of like stealing his stuff back in like 2012 or something like that.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. When we were a webinar platform that was a WordPress plugin, and they weren't, right? So it's like, we didn't really take anything. But then after that moment, he was just always so aggressive, and it got even worse. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, there was he accused me of coming into his Webinar Jam webinars and promoting Easy Webinar and talking about how Webinar Jam sucks. And I was like, what are you talking about? That's completely outside of what's even possible with me as a person, a human.
Right.
And he was like, I know it was you, it was this, you had a fake name. And I was like, what are you talking about? Uh, and it was interesting because it was clear. It was clearly it was not me. It was probably someone who just enjoyed our product, that used it, that decided that they were going to flame Webinar Jam at that time. But
with their affiliate link.
then they publicly blasted me on Facebook. On my Facebook, they posted on my Facebook.
It was like a personal attack.
A personal attack. And I was like, I probably could sue because this is a defamation of character. It's like not even like it wasn't even real. And all of my family follow my page and everything.
Oh,
and it was just, it was showed just how a lack of integrity that some platform founders and owners have.
Right.
And he was one of them, that he would literally think that I could be capable of doing that. And then this other guy, Stephen Renton, who also kind of piggybacked on it. Just guys that, are, I don't know, they got anger issues, they got something. But
Sure.
all that to say that I don't think founders need to be, they don't need to be, always at each other's throats or always in, going at it. And this is a clear indication of that, where we're, coming together and doing these restreams and, talking to people directly. And, it's, so anyway, all that to say that, it's, you don't need to always be at odds with, with people that are, one would consider a competition. What did you say at one point, Henry? It's like cooperation. Is that, or Jason said at one point?
Oh, I think we were talking about what Jason is saying about something about boats, high tides.
Yes, but it was like cooperation, like like it's like cooperation and competition.
Oh, I see. That's a
because
Jason.
you're obviously the way that you're servicing people and the way I service people are different, right? Even though we service similar audiences, the way we serve them is different and unique. And because of that, there's a good fit and a synergy and a cooperation. I don't know. I feel like that's what he was sort of saying.
Yeah. That's 100% Jason. I could definitely see him saying that. But no, it's true though, because it's like, anyone who's in business and things like that, it's like, I was listening to an interview, and I think this has a direct correlation with what we're talking about, where someone was like, would you rather be given $100 million, or would you rather make 20 million, but you made it on your own? And then every entrepreneur answered, I'd rather make the 20 million because I knew I did it on my own. And then the person who was like asking the question goes, well, this is what he's like, well, that's kind of a stupid answer, because you can take the 100 million and go make 200 million and no one really cares. What do they say? No one really cares how you got and made that much money.
Right.
But the point is like, you can take life, you can go in hard mode, or you can try to make it a little bit easier. And I think you and I have independently have taken the hard mode, and we're just trying to not make it so difficult on ourselves. So we can have some more peace of mind. I think that's really what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, I think here's the thing. I do think that, there are no shortcuts. I think that what I've learned is like you can try to find shortcuts, and there's difference between shortcuts and optimization and working smart. But there's no alternative to hard work. There's no alternative to putting the time in and figuring out the best way to approach this or that. And unfortunately, it takes mastery and it takes discipline. I think a lot of we eternally search for like the easy way. And that was me. It's like, okay, well, how can I write a book in a week? Or how can I do this? Or how can I do that? It's like you think about those things, and obviously AI has now added that, this is not
You can
you
do that now.
know, work smart, or here's some shortcuts. I feel like the new, like everyone wants a shortcut now, but I think there's something to be said about the process of hard work and the process of putting the time and mastery into something. Then it's about how you can solve your time problem, how you can solve your scalability problem, where you step out of the day to day so that you are still in mastery, but now you're working in a smarter way for yourself and you're growing at the same time. So, I think it takes both. I was talking to the founder of Wicked Reports at one point, and he had to do. He's a super smart guy, amazing dude. He had to really buckle down and change overall, and did it all himself. Like he read the book Obviously Awesome by April Dunford, I think it is.
Okay.
And in that, he kind of changed his avatar, got super niche on his avatar, and started creating processes for his team to really make sure that they know how to communicate to the audience that they have. And they changed their pricing model and changed their acquisition model, and they grew drastically. They started growing a lot from that. And it was really, he had to do the work. He had to put in the hours. It wasn't hire this person to do this and hire this person.
Right.
He had, every time he hired somebody to do something, it didn't work. They didn't have the capacity to figure it out correctly. So, sometimes you just have to buckle down and do it yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to do it yourself until it gets to a point of like, okay, it's working. Now you take this thing that's working. You did the hard part, and now you're going to go have someone operate that and be sure it continues to work and improves and stuff like that. And I think that's where people get caught up a lot with, like, when they're trying to delegate, they're trying to delegate things that they don't know exactly what they're delegating. But you've got to find that one channel, that thing that's working, before you can go and start delegating fulfillment and sales if you haven't generated your first sale or if you haven't fulfilled on your first project and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, totally. Well, this was a good call. We didn't really have a specific one particular topic we talked about. We kind of dug in and talked. So, guys, if you enjoy these calls or conversations, queued up conversations, let us know. Put some comments in our collective videos that are posted on our collective sites going out, and we'll probably be talking to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a believe and not next week, but the following week we have a live training coming up. So we will hyperlink that and get that all scheduled. We're going to be running that. I guess we have to be running everything through Easy for the live and then the automated stuff now. We were running it on Jet. We should move it over.
Let's move it over. Yeah. We'll get it. We'll get it. Let's do that, and then we'll invite you guys to those trainings. We'd love to have you there. So.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, thanks so much. We'll talk next week.
Okay. See everybody later.
Thanks.
Bye.